Good morning, everyone. My name is Gary Hammond from Magenta. I'm one of the PLM consultants who deal with the NX product line. My main areas of expertise are on the design and simulation area of the product. And as such, I've been using NX now for the best part of about 12 years or so in its various guises. So without further ado, let's move on to the first slide. Okay, so the agenda for today, we're going to have a look at ForumPass briefly. Hopefully you should have all received information from Rolls-Royce by this time with your username and password. If you haven't, then we can supply you the NX Rolls-Royce configuration pack. We're also going to have a look at how to install the NX Rolls-Royce configuration pack. That will involve editing one of the config scripts. We'll also have a look to see what's actually in the configuration pack, what they've supplied to us, and how you go about looking at the templates, and also where to find help and support as a final step. So Rolls-Royce should have issued you with the location and the user ID and password of your ForumPass. I think one of the guys on the call today hasn't, but we've supplied you with the information already, the configuration pack. So once you've logged on to ForumPass, you'll be presented with a SharePoint type screen, which will allow you to browse and to select files that you want to download. A number of these files are going to be for the NX configuration pack. So if you go rooting around within ForumPass, you will find that there is this R&R NX configuration pack, and it contains all the template parts, the DPV settings, symbols, and a whole plethora of other items which are required. These support both 32-bit and 64-bit versions of NX 7.5, 0.5, 0.4, MP2. So that is quite a bit of a mouthful, but that is the version of NX that you require. Okay, so if you do go to the Rolls-Royce PLM configuration entry in ForumPass, you will also see that there's a PDF file with this number, and this gives you instructions on how to open and apply the zip file. The information in that file is quite sparse, but it does give you all of the information that's required for you to get up and running with NX running the Rolls-Royce configuration. While you're there, also take the time to find and download the ugzip-c-rr.zip file. This will be required to send assembly data to Rolls-Royce, and I'll take you through how you install that right at the very end of the webinar. So how would you install the configuration pack then? So once you've downloaded the configuration pack, it's delivered in a zip file. This zip file needs to be unzipped, and if you're running on a standalone PC, then you can just download that and unzip that to a folder of your choice. If you're working in a client-server type environment where you have more than one PC that you need to configure, then you might want to take the time to download and unzip this to a shared folder on a server, and then have the various PCs accessing the same set of files. So you'd only need to maintain one set of files. Okay, so first things first, use some caution when you're uncompressing the zip file to ensure that you're extracting it to a known location. It's very easy sometimes with these things to unzip them and lose the location. Okay, I'm getting quite a bit of feedback from one of the users who are on the line. I was just wondering if you could mute your telephone line for me, if that's okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so once you've uncompressed the files, we then need to go through a process of editing the BAT file and then save that file. And then on each of the client PCs, create a desktop shortcut to the actual shared file. So I'm going to show you how you would go about doing all of that. So on my machine, I've created myself a folder and downloaded all of the information that's required. So here is the PDF file that gives you the instructions on how to go about installing and what's available in the zip file. So I'll just scroll down through this. As I mentioned, it tells you what software version and maintenance pack you need to have installed, which is this. Please install this. If you install a different version, either lower or higher, you may not be entirely compatible with Rolls-Royce. Also, if you do send them information, they may not be able to open it. The disk space for the configuration file requires about 100 megabytes, which is not a great deal, but still you need to account for that. So that's basically it. The folder structure that gets unzipped will look something similar to this. And within that folder structure, there are various files which are delivered. So there's files for Checkmate, for the DWF, DWG translator, DXF translator, IGES, and STEP as well. There's also a materials database which is delivered along with threaded holes and hole charts and hole size tables and a whole load of Rolls-Royce specific 2D drafting symbols. As you can see, there's an extensive amount of those which will automatically install themselves into NX. Just moving down through this list. So we then get on to some of the entries which you'll find in the batch file. So these are the important ones that we need to edit. So there's some notes there on those on the names of the variables that you need to change. Okay, go back to where we are over here. I'm going to unzip the actual configuration file now and extract them all to this location. Like so. So just open that up. This is the BAT file that gets created for us, and this is the one that we need to edit. But before we do that, just going to go back up to this level, and I'm going to go through the process of what you would do if you were going to share this. So you can either share this folder or move this folder to a shared location already. I'm just going to share this and do it from scratch. So I've shared that, and then I'm going to map the hard drive to that location. So then here in a second or two, we should see the hard drive appear. And there's our hard drive with the information that we have extracted. So the next stage here is to edit this file. Right-click and edit using whatever text editor you prefer. I'm going to use TextPad for this, but you could use Notepad or WordPad equally. So the section that we're interested in editing is in this area here. The configuration drive, well, I've just mapped that to R, so I just type in these characters here. The UG base directory, this is where you have NX installed. So on my system, it's different from this. So I'd need to go and find that information, which I will do with the Windows Explorer. So mine is installed in this location. Right-clicking up here, I can copy the address as text, and then cut and paste that information back down into the script, like so. This other information here, this will automatically be picked up from NX. This section here is the working directory. Where would you like to create the data for NX? That's totally down to you, wherever you would like to put that. I'm going to just set this to R and delete that and put a switch on here. So the /D changes the device at the same time, or the so you can CD /D to this folder. Okay, the family parts I'm also going to put up on the R drive and call this family_parts. And that's near enough done. For yourselves, you would need to set a location for your printer part that you've set up for the printers, the default printers on your current installation. I'm going to leave mine blank for the time being. So just reviewing this, I need to create myself a new folder called temp and a new one called family parts, which I can do over in the window at the back there. So on my R drive, I now need to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this temp, and a new one called family parts. Okay, so that completes that. So just save off the changes that we've made to that script. And the next thing that we need to do is go on and test that. I'm just going to go back to my presentation. So these are the changes that I've made that you've seen me go through. Okay, so these are the things that we changed in the script, and these are the meanings of those various entries. Okay, moving on to test the bat file. So we need to double click on the bat file. So if I just go back to here, so I've got my bat file. If I've done everything correctly, I can just run this file. It comes up with a menu. Okay, so we want to fire up NX. So type in number 1, and it will then go ahead and launch NX. And if we go to the file new, if we've done everything right, you should see that you've now got a modified templates dialog box. So here we've got the modeling templates, the assembly templates, drawing templates, manufacturing drawing templates, and simulation files. So I'm just going to create myself a new folder, a new file. Let's call it Model 1, and that just proves that we are picking up and opening the correct files as such. Okay. If NX doesn't fire up for any reason, just go back and review the various settings in in the bat file. It probably is just a typo that needs to be corrected. And the one that typically will cause the issue is the UGII_base_dir. If you set this location wrong, then the script will not be able to find NX and it won't be able to start. If for any reason you're not seeing the templates dialog box be populated correctly, then go back and just review the base directory once again. It could well just be another typo. So to make this look a little bit more professional, so that you've got a shortcut on your desktop so that you can start it instead of looking for a file in Windows Explorer, I'm going to go ahead and create a shortcut. So I'm just going to close this down for a sec and come out of there and then quit from there. So here I'm going to use an option, so just right click on the file and then choose create a desktop shortcut, and then down here we have the shortcut and you can change the name. So I'm just going to change that to RRNX, and you could also, I guess, include the version in there as well. If you change the properties of this, it allows you to change the starting folder. It will default to the location of the script, which may not be the right location. Well, it will not be the right location if you've got shared clients working on this configuration. So you may want to set that back to your own area. So I'll just set that back to let's have a look. So I'll set it back to there. You can also change the icon. At the moment it's just using a default icon. You can, if you wish, change the icon and browse to something that represents that. If you go browsing to NX 7.5 UGII and then have a look in here for a file called ugraf.exe, that holds an icon which you can use, and it will then change your shortcut image to represent the same icons as the standard shortcut for NX. Okay, so just to test the shortcut works correctly, double click on the shortcut. Up comes output from the script. Type in number 1. This fires up NX. Make sure that these are all still set. That's correct. And that is the script installed and everything configured. It's not a very large job. It's quite straightforward if you just follow the instructions. Yeah, so that's the script installed as such. I'm just going to pop back to the PowerPoint presentation and move on to the next area. So the folder structure contains various configuration files. So you will find in the folder structure checkmate. So there's files in there for the various checks that you need to use. Checkmate at 7.5 is slightly different from what you're used to. Checkmate in 7.5 will be used in the 3D PLM information that's generated within NX. Also in the folder structure we have the files for the DXF, DWG translators, both the 32-bit and 64-bit versions, along with IGES and also a couple of versions of STEP. There's also standard Rolls-Royce materials. They're defined in there, modelling standards, and all of the custom symbols, along with the templates that we've already previously looked at. So that's the structure of the folders that have been delivered to you. So as I mentioned earlier, these are the templates. You have both metric and imperial templates for models, assemblies, drawings, and manufacturing drawings to suit. Okay, part file attributes. Once you've created a part in NX, there are a number of attributes which are already pre-populated into the properties of that part. You need to go back and edit the values of these. I'll show you where these are. So we're going back into NX. So if this is our part that we need to add this information to, go to File, Properties, and then if you look on the Attributes tab, you will find you've got DB part name, description, Grav, owner, and a whole load of other information there, which is needs to be filled out. Some of this is required. Other parts of it, this other information is not required, or it's not obligatory. One of the other options you may need to create is something called call out. So I'll just pop back to the PowerPoint. So there's an attribute called call out. If you're putting together an assembly, creating this attribute, this is better done after the assembly's been created, as the number of parts is then actually known. And this populates the detail number column on the parts list to this PLM OP127 specification, which can be downloaded once again from ForumPass. And to create this call out, it's just a matter of typing in call out in this column and then typing in the value for it and applying it, and that then gets created as an attribute. But as the information says, this is best done after you've produced the assembly, because you would then know what the call out number is going to be. The reuse library. This can be found under custom symbols library, and it populates a folder structure called RR custom symbols. And once again, I'll show you this in NX. So if we come across to the reuse library, have a look in custom symbols library, and then down through here, clicking on the various folders, then gives you access to the various symbols that have been installed as part of the configuration. Okay, so that's where you would find this information. I mentioned PLM 0127 earlier, but there are a whole load of other procedures which are available to you up on ForumPass, and they're readily available for you to browse and download, which I suggest that you do. Okay, hints and tips. When you're using the add component assemblies function, make sure that the settings for layer are set to original layer and not the work layer. If you leave it as the work layer, the component that gets added to your assembly will be on whatever layer is currently the work layer, which may well screw things up a little bit later when you're looking to turn layers on and off. So it's best to set the layer settings to use the original layer for all of your components. It makes life a lot easier when you come to creating detailed parts or detail views on the drawing. Each detailed part will have its own separate drawing, so you won't have drawings with similar parts or parts which make an assembly up on the same sheet. The only proviso to that is a welded assembly. The details are to be dimensioned on one drawing. So if you've got a welded assembly, then they should all appear on the same drawing, and in the bill of materials for them should have item numbers 2A, 2B, 2C, etc. No separate drawings for the welded details. They should all be on the same sheet. Also, use the Rolls-Royce symbols in the drafting application. They should all be there. If you do need to create your own for specifics, then create them separately from the Rolls-Royce environment. Reasons for doing that are quite obvious. If a new version comes out and you overwrite the existing folders, you may well lose your own drafting symbols. So make sure that when you create your own symbols, not to include them in the Rolls-Royce folder structure. If a part has to be modified before approval, then use save as and with the suffix detail name and resubmit to Rolls-Royce. So this would be the type of number that you would use. The attribute population summary. So I mentioned the attributes that you need to edit. So the part name would be the clamp. The revision is A. The ref name would be clamp, and the part description may well be something similar to that. The call-out number, this will appear in the detail column of the parts list, but you would need to go back and edit that for the particular instances in the assembly. Do not replace any attribute text on the drawing format with manual text. Don't try and override that manually. Reasons for doing that: if somebody does go back and change the attributes correctly, then the text on the drawing will not update. Okay, so use automatic parts list creation as per BP 153, and in the material column for the parts list, add the material spec such as BS 4360 GR43A and not C detail or any other such notes. Okay, also available is a utility which you can install into NX. This utility allows you to open up an assembly and then save that assembly and all the parts to a zip file. So this is used for making it easier for sending data to and fro Rolls-Royce. And to do this, the installation instructions are fairly straightforward. I'll take you through this. So going back to this location here, this is the utility. So I'm going to just copy that from there and go to the R folder and paste it in there. Okay, so paste it there and then just unzip all that information. So in here there's a README, so it tells you how you go about installing it. Okay, so you need to set an environment. So in this case here it's saying set the UG user directory to a configuration drive. You can do that. Another way of using this, I'm just going to open these up and select all of these and copy them. And then I'm going to create a new folder called user. And then paste those files into it. I'm running Windows 64-bit, so I need to copy this DLL from this location and drop it in the startup folder, like so. And the last thing I need to do is create myself an environmental variable. You can do this in one or two ways. You can go back in and edit this file here. And apologies for that. Yeah, you can go back and edit this file and add in a UGII_user_dir. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to create a system environmental variable by going to your control panel, looking down there for system, advanced settings, environmental variables, and then create a new variable name called UGII_user_dir. And in this case, we're going to set that to r:/user. And then OK that, and then OK that. So what that actually makes happen is when you fire up NX, it looks in this user folder for a startup menu file and any other applications that additional over and above what you would normally use with NX. Okay, so that's it. So thank you very much for your time. I'll just open